Good evening and welcome to our candidate forum. Thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Lori Higgins and I am the moderator for this evening's forum as well as the president of the Metro North Chamber of Commerce. Our goal in tonight's candidate forum is to provide residents with an opportunity to learn more about the candidates and their positions on various issues. I'd like to note, as a resident of Blaine, I cannot vote for any of these candidates. We will ask 4 prepared questions. Responses will be in rotating order. There will be a short period of time at the conclusion for audience questions. Please use this time to write your question and submit to city personnel. I am pleased to introduce the candidates for City Council Ward 2, Jeff Lubarski and Eric Peters. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Each candidate will now have 2 minutes for an introduction, and then we will get started with the questions. Mr. Lubarski, you have 2 minutes for an introduction.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Jeff Lubarski. I have been a resident of the city of Ramsey for 26 years. I am a retired ironworker and also retired Army veteran. I have 2 children who have lived in the city of Ramsey their whole lives. I am passionate about our community, and I want to make sure that the city continues to thrive as it develops. I am truly interested in how the residents of this city see the city's future and how we want it to be. I do have an open mind and as how we would develop, with my only goals being making it cost effective. Usefulness of our residents and something we can maintain into the future without significantly increasing the cost of our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Peters, you have 2 minutes for an introduction.
Yes, thank you very much to the North Metro Chamber of Commerce for graciously hosting this event, to CCTV for providing AV support, and to our Ramsey City staff for spending the time to assemble this last-minute forum. My name is Eric Peters. I've been married to my wife Amy for 20 years. We have 2 wonderful children. My oldest child is currently attending Florida State University after being chased down by a hurricane this last week, so he's just now settling back into his dorm. And I have a daughter, Emmeline, who right now is thriving at PACT right now as a new student. I've lived in Ramsey for 7 years after retiring out of the Navy, after spending 20 years in the Navy. I retired as a senior chief. 5 of these years serving in Ramsey, I've served on the Ramsey Planning Commission, working to shape the future of our community. I'll leave it there.
Okay. All right, thank you. Well, then we will now go to our prepared questions. There's a 2-minute time limit for each answer. And we'll begin with the first question with Mr. Lubarski. Why are you running for City Council, and what skills and talents would you bring to the office?
Thank you. I am running for the City Council because I want to be a representative of the average city resident. I was in the Army Reserves for 25 years, as I said. I joined when I was 17. And since then, I have held major positions, high positions, and high roles in the Army Reserves. As also, I was an ironworker for 27 years, which I held foreman positions there. Both of these positions have helped me with my skills working with teams of individuals to make decisions and complete projects together. I have gained knowledge while working as an ironworker in the different aspects of construction projects and public works projects to understand what parts are necessary to plan and execute a successful project.
Thank you. I'll repeat each question. Mr. Peters, why are you running for City Council, and what skills and talents would you bring to the office?
Great question. I've always felt that God blessed me with a deep-seated passion for service. When the opportunity to join the Ramsey Planning Commission was announced, I eagerly seized it. I applied, participated in interviews, and was honored to be appointed. My 5 years on the commission have been transformative, filled with valuable lessons and guidance from exceptional mentors. Throughout the journey, I've made it a priority to listen attentively to all residents and their concerns. I'm running for City Council to represent the voices of Ward 2 because I am committed to fostering a harmonious balance between our rural and suburban communities. I believe in keeping our taxes low to support our families and local businesses. Above all, I want to ensure our community remains safe, which is why I strongly advocate for supporting our dedicated first responders. My career in both the Navy and the supply chain sector instilled in me a relentless pursuit of excellence. I've always demanded the highest quality from our vendors, understanding that opting for the lowest cost sometimes isn't the right thing. Sometimes going for the best quality is the thing that keeps us going. I pride myself on being a great listener, someone who values collaboration and constructive dialogue. I'm committed to decisive action when others may only seek to assign blame. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to question 2, and we'll begin with Mr. Peters. What do you believe is the greatest need of the residents of Ramsey, and how would you go about advocating for this need?
Another great question. I not only believe, but I know that Ramsey has pressing needs that must be addressed. First and foremost, we need to ensure that our police and fire departments are equipped with personnel training and cutting-edge equipment necessary to keep pace with the rapid growth of our community. As Ramsey continues to expand, it is crucial that we forecast population growth year over year to allocate sufficient funding to enhance our police and fire support. As someone who watched a house burn down in my neighborhood and seeing that Ramsey was not the first responder in that neighborhood, I see the need for having expanded support. Another thing is that as our community grows, we need to make sure that we're looking ahead at the future for our kids. We are going to eventually need a middle and high school. And us having that middle and high school requires us to have a bridge across the Mississippi, as far as I've been told. So there's 2 things right there. We need to look at the future for our kids and their education. We also need to look at infrastructure going across that river. Currently, the traffic across the river is a significant issue, and someone who drives that route daily, I can tell you it is not a fun experience. I fully understand the urgency. This endeavor will not be easy. It will require dedication and resilience. This is not the first time a bridge has been gone over the Mississippi before, or any other river. We can do this.
Thank you. Mr. Lubarski, what do you believe is the greatest need of the residents of Ramsey, and how would you go about advocating for this need?
Okay, thank you. Very good question. Okay, currently I see the greatest needs of our residents is to maintain the infrastructure, maintain our safety and public services with our police, fire, and rescue. Secondly, I believe that we need to budget consciously in providing these things to our residents. We need to make sure the core services, the needs of the city, are funded first, and then to see what additional amenities our community can fund without significantly raising costs to our residents. Our projects should be cost-effective while meeting the needs of our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to question 3. We'll begin with Mr. Lubarski. Transportation is a concern for many Ramsey residents. If elected, what would be your priorities when it comes to transportation infrastructure improvements for this area?
Thank you. Another good question. As a longtime resident in the city of Ramsey, I do know that our transportation infrastructure needs to be prioritized. I want to make sure that the following plans and a schedule for maintaining our roads so they do not need to have massive construction projects to tear out and replace the roads. We also need to make sure that we are in conversation with the County of Anoka with regard to projects that we need their cooperation on. We also need to make sure we are continuing to develop infrastructure and non-vehicular transportation, making sure that our trails, walking paths, sidewalks connect and have safe crossings is also priority for pedestrians. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Peters, transportation is a concern for many Ramsey residents. If elected, what would be your priorities when it comes to transportation infrastructure improvements for this area?
As I stated before, the one for the future, like as Kirsten alluded to, the mythical bridge going over the Mississippi is something that needs to happen. It's been pushed off for too long. Also, we have a great infrastructure program for our roads right now that we need to maintain that schedule. We need to also ensure that they're putting on quality roads for us that can be maintained and that won't degrade so quickly over time. There's also things like we talked about metro transit and making sure that people can get to places. Sometimes it comes down to people just not having the information in front of them and pointing them in the right direction. Even Jeff, who works for the DAV, he can attest, like the DAV will provide transportation to the VA for any vet out there. So there are things out there for people to use, and also If it comes to the time, if a time comes when we are needing a bus routes to go into Ramsey, we need to address that with our residents and find out where they should be going. And we're like even Ryan said, we're already paying for it. Why not? Let's see if we can get some bus stops in here for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 4, Mr. Peters. What is your vision for the city's development over the next 5 years?
Great question. My vision for Ward 2, start with that one, is over the next 5 years is to maintain the current property densities, ensuring that the roads are maintained and hazard-free, and work with Anoka County to reduce the speed on Highway 5, as we know is now the road, which has 2 elementary schools and multiple communities living off that road. The speed generally needs to be reduced. I've reached out to multiple people at the county level on that one. If nothing is done, it only invites tragedy. We see what happened in St. Francis at their crossing. We don't want that to happen here, especially in front of a school. We don't want that. I don't ever want to hear that ever happening. My vision for the city as a whole would be to facilitate economic and residential growth that benefits the residents of Ramsey. With the advent of Highway 10 Ramsey corridor, Ramsey will be well positioned as a manufacturing hub in the future. We must ensure that we understand the need for workforce housing and how that affects businesses' decisions to come to our area. And as a former chef, I would love to see more restaurants here, and anybody would love to have more restaurants. My wife can't keep me at home. I want to eat at different restaurants every night, especially the ones on Highway 10. We need to make sure we're supporting those folks. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Lubarsky, what is your vision for the city's development over the next 5 years?
Thank you. Very good question. And thank you, Mr. Peters, for your comment. That was very good. I like that. I'm spot on with you on everything. As far as the city's development, though, I want to work on ways to increase businesses' development in the city. Specifically, I want to see where we can make it easier for small business to develop, but all business that support the needs of our residents, so they are not forced to travel to other communities for day-to-day needs and dinners out.
All right, thank you. So we will now move to audience questions. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond. The first question, and we'll begin with Mr. Lubarsky. The question is as follows. On September 5th, 2024, you all participated in a forum run by the League of Women Voters. How do you feel about spending the taxpayers' money to do this forum again, just because a few people in the city want to be able to edit the answers they don't like?
Oh, good question. I don't see why we should have to spend taxpayers' money. Why can't we do it for free? Why can't we just go out there and do it? I mean, why should we have to waste money on something? Plain and simple. I don't see no reason to spend taxpayers' money. People work hard for their money. We shouldn't waste it. That's all I got to say on that.
All right. Mr. Peters, I'll repeat the question. On September 5th, 2024, you all participated in a forum run by the League of Women Voters. How do you feel about spending the taxpayers' money to do this forum again, just because a few people in the city want to be able to edit the answers they don't like?
I won't be editing any of my answers. So I find it just funny that somebody would pay $500 to listen to two old vets talk about stuff all day long and at 7:30 at night. It's very, very hilarious to me. I always look forward to any opportunity to talk to anybody out there. I wish it was for free. I would think that we could take that money and use it for putting gas in the police cars or sharpening the blades on the snow plows. But here we are, and now it's spent. So I'm happy to talk to anybody that wants to talk to me, especially in this crowd right here. This is great.
Exactly.
Thanks.
All right. We will move on to the second audience question, and we'll begin with Mr. Peters. The question is as follows. In financial terms only, please describe why you believe the tax levy or franchise fee is a better road funding source.
I don't know enough about it to be smart about it. I've only heard different points of view on it. It's something that I would like to read up more on. I think if anything comes down to we need to spend more money on things, I think all options should be on the table. We should always adjudicate those and make sure that we're taking everything into account, whether it be getting funding from outside or from inside, moving money around to help support certain things. We should be looking in depth at all those. But I spend $7 on coffee every day, so it wasn't a thing for me. But it also, I pay my taxes because I'm a citizen, and I like what I have in my community. So.
All right, thank you. I'll repeat the question for Mr. Lubarsky. In financial terms only, please describe why you believe the tax levy or franchise fee is a better road funding source.
Just like Mr. Peters here, exactly, I don't know very much on this levy system either. I just know it's another tax base. I'm not too pro for it, too con for it. However, if it's all going to our roads and it's improving our roads and that money is being spent just on the roads, nothing else, no other hidden things, I see no problem with it.
All right. The third audience question is as follows, and we'll begin with Mr. Lubarsky. What are your thoughts on the following? The bigger the government, the smaller the individual.
Another good one, as all the other past candidates said too, the government is kind of big and it's up there. As I say, I go to the DEV, I go to the legislature in Washington DC every year to fight for our vets. The government is getting big, the government is power. We want to keep our stuff at city level, and this is where we want to focus all our deals, is just on the city local government and not any higher than that. I'd like to leave it here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Peters, what are your thoughts on the bigger the government, the smaller the individual?
I think I'm the biggest guy up here. I don't know if they can get any bigger. Can get bigger than me. As someone who worked for the Department of Defense for 20 years, I can tell you right now that is a ballooning organization. I think Ryan and Jeff can attest to. It gets crazy when you see the different levels of it. I like Jeff alluded to, I'm concerned about what happens here. We're not going to add a Department of Homeland Security in Ramsey. I don't think there's any need for it. I think the only level of government we should add to is more police and fire. I think that'd be my only thing right there. So, okay.
All right. We will now go to a 1-minute closing statement from each candidate, and we'll begin with Mr. Peters.
Thank you. Residents of Ramsey, I've dedicated over 20 years of moving my family across the country in service to our great nation. We finally found a true home in Ramsey. Here, we discovered not only safe streets and excellent schools, but a warm and welcoming church community that embraced us as a family. I was honored to be appointed on the Ramsey Planning Commission, where I had the privilege of serving my adopted hometown. During my time here, I listened intently and learned from the diverse voices within our community. While my opponent and I share common values, both having served honorably for our country and desiring the best for our city, the key difference here lies in experience. I spent the last 5 years sitting in that chair. I'll knock on you.
It's okay, buddy.
My approach to service of the city is with a heavy heart, knowing that the weight of the responsibility, yet with a thick skin to withstand the challenges, open ears to hear your concerns, and a focus to listen to and focused vision for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lubarsky, you have 1 minute for a closing statement.
Thank you. Nice. In closing, I just want to say thank you for putting this on and all you people for attending and giving all the candidates a chance to speak. As a longtime resident of the city of Ramsey, I have seen the city go through many changes, and I want that to continue living here with my family in a safe, beautiful, and thriving community. I feel that all our residents deserve a voice. I want to make sure that our residents feel they have a voice and that they are heard and their opinions are being taken into account when the city council is making their decisions. As I said before, I'm on the DAV, I'm the senior vice, I travel around, we do legislative, and I'm also on the board of directors. I support my veterans. So if you are the voice, I listen to that voice. You are me. If you have any questions and you want to discuss, please reach out. I appreciate your support on Election Day. Thanks again.
Thank you. This concludes our forum. I would like to thank our candidates and CJ Luck, the equipment operator, for making tonight's event possible. Please remember to vote on or before Tuesday, November 5th. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.